My family threw me out of our annual reunion despite my $3,000 0 cents monthly checks, so I cut them off cold, and what unfolded next left them begging in ways I never imagined. The chandelier light glinted off the champagne flutes, casting a golden shimmer across the ballroom of the Fairmont San Francisco. I stood at the edge of the crowd, my tuxedo feeling like a straitjacket, my Navy SEAL instincts twitching despite the years I'd spent trading combat boots for boardrooms. The gala was supposed to be a celebration. My cybersecurity firm had just landed a contract with a Fortune 500 tech giant, a deal that would cement my name in Silicon Valley. But as I swirled the bourbon in my glass, the air felt wrong, like the calm before a firefight. My family was here, flown in from Oregon, their presence a rare concession to my insistence on keeping ties despite the scars they'd left on me. I had no idea I was walking into an ambush. My name's Ethan Caldwell, 34, a man who stared down insurgents in Fallujah and cyber threats in server rooms. I built a life from nothing, clawing my way out of a gritty logging town where loyalty was as scarce as a sunny day. For years, I'd sent my family $5,000 0 cents a month, my way of keeping the peace, of proving I wasn't the failure they'd branded me as a kid. My dad, a hard-drinking mill worker, and my mom, a woman who'd rather pray than parent, had always seen me as the black sheep who dared to dream beyond the sawdust. Tonight, they were all smiles, clinking glasses with San Francisco's elite, my money padding their egos. I should have known better than to trust a ceasefire. The band struck up a jazzy cover of Sinatra, and I scanned the room for Lauren, my wife of 7 years. She was a vision in a sleek black gown, her sharp blue eyes catching mine from across the floor. Lauren, 31, a corporate lawyer who could dismantle a witness or a heart with equal precision, had been my anchor since we met at a Seattle tech conference a decade ago. Her wit had hooked me during a panel on data privacy, her laughter cutting through the room like sunlight through fog. We'd built a life together, Napa Valley wedding, a loft in Soma, morning runs along the Embarcadero, but lately there were cracks. She'd been distant, her phone a constant shield, her warmth replaced by a chill I couldn't place. Tonight, though, she was here, and I let myself hope we'd reconnect. "Ethan!" My dad's voice boomed, slurred from too much whiskey as he stumbled toward me, my mom trailing behind with her church lady smile. The crowd parted, their eyes drawn to the spectacle. "Big man, big night, huh? Always knew you'd make us proud." His hand clapped my shoulder, heavy with expectation. I forced a grin, my gut twisting. Proud? That was new. The last time he'd said anything close, I was 17, shipping out to basic training, and he'd called me a fool for thinking I'd amount to anything. Before I could respond, my sister Claire stepped forward, her face tight with something I couldn't read. She'd always been the golden child, the one who stayed in Oregon, playing the dutiful daughter while I sent checks to keep her comfortable. "We need to talk," she said, her voice low, cutting through the music like a knife. The room seemed to shrink, the chatter fading as heads turned. My mom's smile faltered, and my dad's grip tightened on my shoulder. "Here? Now?" I asked, keeping my tone light, but my senses were on high alert. Something was off, way off. Claire didn't blink. "You think you can just buy us off forever, Ethan? Throw money at us like we're your charity case?" Her words hit like a sucker punch, loud enough to draw gasps from nearby guests. My pulse spiked. Years of SEAL training screaming at me to assess the threat, but this wasn't a battlefield. This was my family, turning on me in front of San Francisco's elite. "Pell, what the hell are you talking about?" I kept my voice steady, but my fists clenched at my sides. Lauren appeared at my side, her hand brushing my arm, but her expression was unreadable, almost detached. "You heard me," Claire spat, her face flushed. "You send us your scraps, thinking it makes you better than us. We don't need your pity anymore. We're done with you." She gestured to my parents, who stood silent, their eyes avoiding mine. The room spun, the weight of their words sinking in. "Done with me? After I'd bankrolled their lives for years?" "Claire, you're making a scene," I said, my voice low, but the damage was done. Whispers rippled through the crowd. phones already out recording the Caldwell family implosion. My dad finally spoke, his voice thick with disdain. "You're not one of us, Ethan. Never were. Take your money and your fancy life and stay the hell out of ours." The words cut deeper than any bullet I'd dodged in Iraq. I'd spent my life proving them wrong, building something they couldn't touch, and now they were spitting in my face. Lauren's hand tightened on my arm, but when I looked at her, her eyes were on the floor, not on me. No support, no outrage on my behalf, just silence. The band played on, oblivious, as my world cracked open. I turned and walked out, the cool San Francisco night hitting me like a slap. The valet handed me my keys and I climbed into my Tesla, my hands shaking as I gripped the wheel. I didn't know where I was going, only that I needed to move, to outrun the humiliation burning in my chest. I hit the gas, the city lights blurring as I sped toward the coastal highway. That's when I felt it. The brakes weren't responding. The pedal went soft, the car hurtling through the fog, the Pacific's edge looming closer. My training kicked in, downshift, pumped the emergency brake, steer into the skid. The car screeched to a stop inches from the cliff, waves crashing below. Someone had tampered with my brakes. This wasn't just a family betrayal, this was war. Back at our loft, I paced the hardwood floors, the city skyline mocking me through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Lauren sat on the couch, her phone in hand, scrolling like nothing had happened. "You okay?" I asked, my voice tight. She glanced up, her blue eyes cold, like she was sizing me up. "I'm fine," she said, her tone clipped. "You should calm down. It's just family drama." "Just family drama?" I snapped. "They humiliated me in front of half the city, Lauren, and someone tried to kill me tonight." I told her about the brakes, expecting shock, but she just shrugged. "Maybe it was a mechanical issue. You're being paranoid," she said, her eyes back on her phone. Paranoid? I'd survived ambushes in war zones. I knew a setup when I saw one. But her dismissal hit harder than the gala. This wasn't the Lauren who'd laughed with me over late-night tacos, who'd planned our future during rooftop dinners. Something was wrong, and it wasn't just my family. The next morning, I wired the final $5,000, 0 cents, to my parents' account, then called my bank and cut them off. No more checks, no more leash. Within hours, my phone lit up with text from Claire, threats, pleas, accusations. "You'll regret this, Ethan. You owe us." Owe them? I'd given them everything and they'd spat in my face. But the threats didn't stop there. By noon, my firm's server flagged an intrusion attempt, a sophisticated hack targeting client data. My team traced it to an IP in Portland, too close to home to be a coincidence. That night, a storm rolled in, thunder rattling the loft as I worked late, digging into a client's firewall. Lauren walked in, her tailored suit a stark contrast to the casual hoodies she used to wear. Her blonde hair, once long and flowing, was now a severe pixie cut, her face all sharp angles. "We need to talk," she said, her voice flat, like she'd rehearsed it. "About what?" I asked, shutting my laptop. Her next words hit like a grenade. "I think we should try a celibate partnership," she said, her arms crossed, her eyes daring me to challenge her. I laughed, a reflex, thinking she was joking. "What, like we're monks now? Come on, Lauren." "I'm serious, Ethan," she said, her voice ice cold. "Our physical relationship is holding us back. I've been reading forums, listening to thought leaders. Intimacy distracts from true emotional alignment." My stomach dropped. This wasn't a prank. The woman I'd married, who'd once tackled me onto this very couch with a grin, was standing here demanding we gut the heart of our marriage. "Where's this coming from?" I asked, my voice shaking. "Are you unhappy? Is there someone else?" She sighed, like I was a child who didn't get it. "It's not about that. It's about growth. I need to focus on my authentic self, not some outdated expectation of being your wife." "Outdated? We've been together 10 years, Lauren. We built this life together. Now you're quoting internet gurus?" My temper flared, but she didn't flinch. "You're being narrow-minded," she said, her voice dripping with condescension. "This could strengthen us, Ethan, if you'd just listen." "Listen to what?" You're asking me to sign up for a roommate situation, not a marriage." My hands were shaking now, the betrayal from the gala still raw, and now this. "Who's putting this crap in your head?" She turned away, her phone buzzing, and I caught a glimpse of a notification. "Morgan. Keep setting boundaries." Who the hell was Morgan? I grabbed her arm, not hard, but enough to make her look at me. "Talk to me, Lauren. What's going on?" She yanked her arm free. "Don't touch me." "You don't own me, Ethan." The words cut deeper than any knife. She stormed off to the bedroom, leaving me standing in the dark, the storm outside mirroring the one in my chest. The days that followed were a descent into hell. Lauren became a ghost in our own home, her phone a constant extension of her hand, her earbuds a barrier to any real conversation. I'd catch snippets of podcasts and self-important voices droning about male entitlement and reclaiming feminine power. Her wardrobe shifted overnight. Gone were the jeans and tees, replaced by crisp blazers and slacks, like she was auditioning for a corporate takeover. Her laughter, once my favorite sound, was reserved for late-night Zoom calls she took behind locked doors. I tried to hold it together. I cooked her favorite fettuccine alfredo, booked a weekend at Big Sur, even suggested we restart our morning runs. She brushed me off every time, her eyes barely leaving her screen. "I'm busy," she'd say, or "I need space." Space? We lived in a 2,000 square foot loft with views of the Bay Bridge. How much more space did she need? Then the IRS called. An audit triggered by an anonymous tip claiming my firm had unreported income. My CFO Rachel was frantic. Our books were clean, but the timing reeked of sabotage. I spent hours combing through financials, my mind split between the audit and Lauren's transformation. Was this connected to my family's threats, or something worse? One evening, I came home to find our loft transformed into a cultish seminar. 10 women I'd never met sat in a circle on our Persian rug, burning sage that made my eyes water. Lauren led the charge, her voice fervent as she preached about dismantling male dominance. I stood frozen in the doorway, my own home feeling like enemy territory. One woman, her voice sharp, declared, "Cutting off physical access is the first step to liberation." The others nodded, their eyes gleaming with zeal. I retreated to the balcony, the city's hum drowned out by my pounding heart. Paranoia took root. Lawrence's secrecy, locked screens, hushed calls, sudden password changes, screamed of fear. Or worse, brainwashing. I'd seen it in the SEALs, cults, preying on vulnerability, twisting minds until loyalty turned to dust. One night I found her tablet unlocked on the kitchen counter, a rare slip. I hesitated, my conscience screaming, but I needed answers. I opened her email and found a thread with someone named Morgan. "Lauren, you're awakening to your true power. Ethan's resistance is textbook manipulation. You don't owe him your body or your soul. I'm here for you." Morgan? Another email dated yesterday. System. Yesterday. Morgan? Who the hell is Morgan? My blood ran cold. This wasn't just some online guru spouting nonsense. This was someone targeting my wife, turning her against me. I scrolled further, my heart pounding. Morgan Blake, a transformational coach, urged Lauren to break free from patriarchal chains, calling me a controlling force holding her back. The emails were intimate, personal, like Morgan knew our marriage inside out. Worse, I found transfer records. Lauren had sent $7,500.00 from our joint account to Elevate Collective, Morgan's group, without a word to me. I slammed the tablet down, my hands shaking. Lauren wasn't just drifting, she was being reprogrammed. I dug into Elevate's website, a glossy trap of empowerment jargon and donation buttons. Memberships ranged from $99.00 group chats to $999.00 elite coaching with Morgan, a self-styled feminist liberator who'd left her own husband to free herself. It screamed scam, but Lauren was all in. The next morning, I followed her to a downtown co-working space, my SEAL instincts kicking in. She slipped into a meeting room with a dozen women, their voices hushed but intense. I lingered outside, catching fragments. divest from male validation, reclaim your power. Lauren's face was lit with a fire I hadn't seen in months. But it wasn't for me. That night, I confronted her. "Who's Morgan, Lauren? Why are you sending thousands to some internet con artist?" Her eyes flashed. "You went through my stuff? That's so you, Ethan, always controlling." "Controlling? You're wiring our money to a cult?" I shouted. "They're telling you I'm the enemy." "It's not a cult," she snapped. "It's a community. That gets me, unlike you." "Gets you?" "They're bleeding you dry and turning you into someone, I don't know," my voice cracked. "What happened to us?" "You happened," she said, her words ablade. "You and your need to dominate everything." The fight exploded. She called me toxic. I called her brainwashed. I brought up the money and she faltered, admitting it was an investment in herself. I laughed bitterly. "It's a scam, Lauren. They're isolating you, just like cults do." She stormed out, locking herself in her office. I heard her voice, soft and warm, talking to someone, probably Morgan. I stood in the kitchen, the city skyline mocking me, wondering how my life had become a battlefield. I didn't sleep. My mind raced, replaying every moment, searching for the moment it all went wrong. The next day, my office was hit. A masked intruder smashed the window, grabbed a drive with client data, and left a note. "Stop digging." My team was on edge, our biggest client threatening to bail if we didn't recover the data. I traced the breach to a server linked to Elevate Collective. This wasn't just personal, it was a coordinated attack. I tailed Lauren that night, my gut screaming betrayal. She met a group in a dimly lit bar, their conversation intense, secretive. I couldn't hear much, but Morgan's name came up and Lauren smiled. A smile I hadn't seen in weeks. Was she cheating? Brainwashed? Both? The final straw came during a high-speed chase. A black SUV followed me after a client meeting, forcing me to weave through San Francisco's hills at 80 miles an hour. I lost them in an alley, my heart pounding, my SEAL training the only reason I was alive. Someone wanted me gone, and I was starting to think Elevate was more than a scam. It was dangerous. I hired a lawyer, froze our accounts, and leased a condo in Oakland, a fortress with keycard access. I packed my gear, left a note for Lauren. "You wanted a celibate marriage? Here's a solo one. My lawyer will handle the rest." I included Morgan's emails, the $7,500 0 cents receipts, and Elevate's Freedom Blueprint, a cult manual for breaking women like Lauren. I walked out, the door slamming shut on 10 years of my life. 3 days later, my phone exploded with Lauren's texts. "Please, Ethan, I messed up. We can fix this." I ignored them, settling into my new place, the Oakland skyline, a fresh start. Then Morgan called, her voice smooth and smug. "Lauren's falling apart without you. You're breaking her." "You broke her," I growled. "Stay away, or I'll bury you." I hung up, my blood boiling. But deep down, a question gnawed at me. Was Lauren really gone? Or was she still in there, fighting to come back? The Oakland condo was my fortress now, a steel and glass sanctuary perched above the city's pulse. After 10 years with Lauren, I'd walked away, leaving behind the loft that once held our dreams, and a letter that burned with every ounce of my pain. My name's Ethan Caldwell, a former Navy SEAL turned cybersecurity hotshot, and I just survived a war I never saw coming. My wife's transformation into a stranger, orchestrated by some shadowy transformational coach named Morgan Blake. I'd cut ties with my family after their public betrayal at the gala, frozen our joint accounts and moved out, but the fight was far from over. The threats were escalating, and I was starting to realize this wasn't just about a crumbling marriage. It was something darker, something that wanted me erased. The first week in my new place was a blur of freedom and fury. I threw myself into setting up the condo, sleek furniture, a high-end coffee maker, my old SEAL gear mounted on the wall like a reminder of who I was. I joined a boxing gym in Jack London Square, the thud of my fists against the bag, a release for the rage I couldn't voice. My Navy buddies, guys I hadn't seen since we were dodging bullets in Fallujah, welcomed me back like I'd never left. We grabbed beers at Drake's, swapping stories of battles won and lost, their laughter pulling me back from the edge. But at night, alone with the hum of the city, Lauren's words haunted me. "You're oppressively entitled." The woman I'd loved for a decade had called me the enemy, and I couldn't shake the question. Had I missed the signs, or had she been stolen from me? My phone buzzed relentlessly with Lauren's texts. "Ethan, please. I'm sorry, can we talk?" I ignored them, my heart a war zone of love and betrayal. Then came the voicemails, her voice cracking with desperation. "I messed up, Ethan. I need you." I deleted them, but each one chipped away at my resolve. Was she still in there, the Lauren who'd laughed with me under Napa's stars? Or was this just another layer of manipulation, courtesy of Morgan and her Elevate collective? The confrontation with Lauren had been brutal. I'd found emails on her tablet, intimate, insidious messages from Morgan, painting me as a controlling tyrant. She'd wired $7,500 0 cents of our money to Elevate, a group I'd uncovered as a slick scam preying on affluent women. Their Freedom Blueprint, PDF, a cultish manifesto for dismantling male-centric relationships, was Lauren's new Bible, guiding her to cut me out of her life. When I called her out, she'd exploded, accusing me of stifling her self-actualization. The fight had ended with her locked in her office, whispering to Morgan while I stood in our kitchen, surrounded by the ruins of our life. But the threats didn't stop with words. My car's brakes had failed on a foggy coastal highway, nearly sending me into the Pacific. My office was broken into, client data stolen, a note left behind, "Stop digging." Then, a black SUV tailed me through San Francisco's hills, forcing a high-speed chase that left my heart pounding. Someone wanted me silenced, and Elevate's fingerprints were all over it. I'd hired a private investigator, Jake Torres, a grizzled ex-cop who confirmed my worst fears. Morgan Blake was linked to a string of broken marriages, her empowerment group, a front for siphoning money from women like Lauren. Jake was digging deeper, but the deeper we went, the more dangerous it got. One day morning, I was at my firm, a sleek office in the Embarcadero Center, trying to salvage our biggest client contract after the data breach. My team was on edge, the IRS audit looming like a guillotine. Rachel, my CFO, burst in, her face pale. "Ethan, you need to see this." She handed me a printout, an email from an anonymous source to our client accusing me of fraud and leaking their data. The timing was too perfect, the wording too familiar. It reeked of my family's vendetta, but I couldn't shake the feeling Elevate was pulling strings. "Get legal on this," I said, my voice tight, "and double our server encryption. No one gets in again." As Rachel nodded and left, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "You can't run from the truth, Ethan." My blood ran cold. I forwarded it to Jake, who replied instantly, "Burner phone. Tracing it now. Stay sharp." That night, I came home to find my condo trashed, glass shattered, furniture overturned, and scrawled across my living room wall in red paint, "Traitor." My SEAL instincts kicked in, check corners, secure exits, but the intruder was gone. I called Jake, who arrived in 20 minutes, his face grim as he surveyed the damage. "This is personal," he said, snapping photos. "Elevate's escalating, they know you're onto them." "Or it's my family," I said, my voice low. My parents had filed a lawsuit claiming I owed them millions for past support, a baseless grab at my wealth. Jake shook his head. "Could be both. I'm digging into Morgan's financials. There's a money trail leading to Portland. Sound familiar?" Portland. My family's turf. The pieces were starting to fit, but the puzzle was a maze. I couldn't trust anyone. Not Lauren, not my family, maybe not even my own judgment. Sleep became a luxury I couldn't afford. My nights spent staring at the city lights, replaying every moment with Lauren, searching for the crack where Morgan had slipped in. The next day, a bombshell hit. A whistleblower from Elevate, a woman named Tara, contacted me through a secure email Jake had set up. Her message was frantic. "Morgan's targeting women like Lauren Rich, restless, easy to manipulate. She uses their money to fund a network of shell companies. I have proof, but I'm scared. They're watching me." Attached was a file, bank records showing Elevate funneling donations to offshore accounts, including one linked to a Portland address, and my family's address. I called Tara, my heart racing. "Who's they?" I asked, my voice steady despite the adrenaline. "I don't know," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Morgan's got people, muscle, hackers. They know I talked." I'm leaving town tonight. The line went dead. I tried calling back, but the number was disconnected. Hours later, Jake forwarded me a voicemail Tara had left him. They found me. I'm running. Tell Ethan to watch his back. Her voice was raw with fear, then silence. She was gone. My world tilted. This wasn't just a scam. It was a machine, and I was caught in its gears. I met Jake at a dive bar in the Mission, the kind of place where no one asks questions. Morgan's not just a con artist, he said, sliding me a folder. She's got ties to organized crime, extortion, blackmail, maybe worse. Those offshore accounts, they're funding something big, and your wife's money is part of it. I stared at the folder, my hands shaking. What about my family? Are they in on this? Jake's eyes darkened. I found payments from Elevate to your sister Claire. Small but regular. Could be hush money, could be a payoff. We need more. I felt sick. My family, Lauren, Morgan, all connected, all tearing my life apart. I needed to confront Lauren to know how deep she was in. But first I had to survive. That night, I was ambushed in the parking garage below my office. A thug in a ski mask came at me with a knife, his eyes gleaming with intent. I dodged, my SEAL training kicking in, disarming him with a twist of his wrist. He swung again, slicing my arm before I slammed him against a concrete pillar, knocking him out. I searched his pockets, nothing but a burner phone with one contact, M.B. Morgan Blake. I left him for the cops and drove to my condo, blood soaking my sleeve, my mind racing. This was no random attack. Morgan wanted me dead. I patched myself up, the sting of the wound nothing compared to the betrayal burning in my chest. I called my lawyer, Sarah Gwynn, and laid out everything, the emails, the money, the attacks. File for separation, I told her, and protect my assets. I'm done playing defense. She agreed, setting up a new account for my paychecks and securing my firm's contracts. I wasn't just fighting for my marriage now. I was fighting for my life. The next morning, I tracked Lauren's phone to a co-working space downtown, a glass-fronted hipster haven where she'd been meeting her collective. I slipped in after hours, my lock-picking skills from the SEALs coming in handy. The room was empty, but a whiteboard caught my eye, covered in buzzwords. Divest from male validation. Reclaim power, break the chains. In the corner, a laptop hummed, left unlocked. I opened it and found a live Zoom feed. Lauren, her face lit with fervor, talking to Morgan. "He's suffocating me," she said, her voice raw. "I can't breathe in this marriage." Morgan's voice was smooth, predatory. "You're so close, Lauren. Cut him out and you'll be free." I wanted to smash the screen, but I recorded it instead. Every word proof of Morgan's grip on my wife. The pressure was crushing me. Lauren's law firm colleagues were spreading rumors. Ethan Caldwell, the unstable ex-SEAL, a liability to his clients. My family's lawsuit gained traction. Their lawyer claiming I'd abandoned them, demanding half my net worth. My firm's biggest client set a 48-hour deadline to resolve the data breach, or they'd walk. And Tara's disappearance haunted me. Her voicemail played on a loop in my head, her fear a warning I couldn't ignore. I confronted Lauren at the loft, my anger barely contained. "You're funding a criminal, Lauren. Morgan's using you, and you're too blind to see it." I showed her the bank records, the Freedom Blueprint, Tara's email. Her face paled, but she doubled down. "You're paranoid," she spat. "Elevate's my family now. They see me for who I am, not what you want me to be." "Family?" I roared. "They're bleeding you dry and sending thugs to kill me." I told her about the knife attack, the trash condo, the chase. For a moment, doubt flickered in her eyes, but she shook it off. "You're making it up to control me," she said, her voice trembling. "Morgan warned me you'd do this." I laughed, bitter and broken. "Morgan's playing you, Lauren, and you're letting her destroy us." I walked out, leaving the evidence on the counter, my heart a war zone. I moved out the next day, my gear packed into a duffel, my new condo a lifeline. I left Lauren a letter. "You wanted celibacy. I'm giving you solitude. My lawyer will handle the rest." I included Morgan's emails, the $7,500 0 cents receipts, and the blueprint. a final plea for her to see the truth. I didn't look back as I drove away, the city lights fading in my rear view. For 2 weeks, I rebuilt. The boxing gym became my church, each punch a prayer for clarity. My Navy buddies rallied, their loyalty a reminder of who I was before Lauren, before the betrayal. My firm stabilized, the client appeased, with Jake's help tracing the breach to elevate. But Lauren's calls didn't stop. Texts begging for a chance, voicemails sobbing about regret. I stonewalled her, my trust shattered. Then Morgan emailed me, her tone dripping with condescension. "Lauren's awakening is fragile, Ethan. You're breaking her." I fired back. "Stay away, or I'll bury you and your scam." I blocked her, but the threat lingered. Was she desperate enough to come for me again? Lauren showed up at my office 3 weeks later, a ghost of herself. Her pixie cut was grown out, her tailored suits replaced by jeans and a worn hoodie. Her eyes, red from crying, locked onto mine. "I was wrong," she whispered, her voice raw. "Elevate took everything, $10,000, 0 cents, my confidence, my marriage. I'm in therapy, real therapy. I want us back." I leaned back, my heart torn. "You called me the enemy, Lauren. You let Morgan rewrite our life. How do I trust you again?" Tears streamed down her face. "I was lost, Ethan. Morgan made me feel special, like I was part of something bigger. But it was a lie. I sold my car, my jewelry. Here's the $10,000, 0 cents. She slid a check across my desk, her hands shaking. "I'm fighting back. I filed fraud charges with 3 other women. I started a support group to help them." I stared at the check, the weight of her words sinking in. She'd fought back, exposed Morgan, reclaimed a piece of herself. The Lauren I'd loved was in there, fighting to break free. But the scars were deep, and trust was a luxury I couldn't afford. "Let's get coffee," I said finally, my voice steady. "No promises, Lauren. This is on my terms." Her eyes lit with hope, a spark of the woman I'd married. "I'll take it," she said, her voice breaking. She left. I leaned back, the city sprawling below me. Morgan was still out there, her endgame a mystery. My family's lawsuit loomed, their ties to Elevate a question mark. Tara's silence screamed danger. Had Morgan silenced her for good? And Lauren, was her redemption real or another trap? I didn't know, but for the first time in months I felt the ground beneath me. I'd survived war zones, ambushes, betrayal. Whatever came next, I'd face it on my terms, my fists ready, my heart guarded but open to the fight.